Thank you for coming and speaking with us. Why are we seeing so much activity around the real-time web these days?
I think there are two main factors. One is that Google came first with Google Apps, and people got used to the spreadsheet updating instantly and seeing others viewing the same data as you. And they of course have a great infrastructure for these things. Secondly, Facebook did pretty much the same. You see status updates coming up live, you see people going online and chat. And the people who use Facebook are just the consumers. So they're the people who really set expectations to web applications. And what happens in the consumer space will also happen in the enterprise space, which is where we live. And we see the same expectations. We want real-time status updates. And finally, we've gotten all this great infrastructure components coming out. Nginx are asking for people who can donate to them implementing WebSockets and Redis and Node.js, just things that lend themselves to real-time infrastructures. So now we can finally actually do it. Now we've been trying to do this for 10 years perhaps, and we've done it in JavaScript with polls, and it's worked out okay. But now we can just close the gap in terms of delay, and we have great tools to do so now.
So what are the current mainstream trends as you see them?
There's definitely a tendency for the things we used to make as web devs, as hacks on the internet, on the HTML and JavaScript level, for that to sort of be adopted by the browser vendors, which is the platform these things should happen on. For example, how server-send events replace comments entirely, pretty much, and we see this packaging that makes it more easy for developers to do real-time. Many companies these days are betting their future on it, and many companies are betting a lot of money on real-time. And that's a trend where people sort of introduce new frameworks to help get this real-time thing going. And they want to alleviate developer pain. And lastly, we see things like WebRTC taking off, which I think is going to be a big shift in how we do communication. We see already, I know that Skype is hiring for WebRTC devs, and we see a lot of great stuff going on with sort of pushing the envelope in terms of what can be done.
So what would you say are some challenges we'll see as a result of these trends?
Historically, it's been very easy to be a web developer. I think that's a great part of why the internet is successful and why we love doing what we're doing. It's pretty easy to, on the server, let's build a string, send it to the browser. Opening up for real-time is going to add a lot of complexity, and it's going to be a barrier to entry, which I'm not sure it's going to be easy. It's not going to be easy to go in there and write your big distributed system. Let's say in real time, we often see this work well together with single page apps. So then you need to build like your application in JavaScript, you can push real-time data to it, and building that infrastructure is not something we need to do. So for it to take off, we need to just dumb things down and lower the barrier to entry. Building a big distributed system is not easy. It's not the same as the request response cycle. Yeah, it's a little slow, it's a little naive, but going all in on the real time is going to require a lot more computer science than just craftsmanship. And that is going to be one of the hard parts.
So how is Zendesk applying real time?
Zendesk is a 5-year-old web app. We went live 5 years ago, and it was just Ruby on Rails 1 pretty much, and building up HTML, sending it across the wire. And then gradually, Ajax was sort of the first JavaScript libraries came out back then. Prototype.js was very helpful, so you start Ajaxing in things. We were just getting more speed, and then other pages you use PJAX to load faster. So we did all these tricks just to get performance, which is what real-time is also about. Let's get performant, responsive web apps. But not until recently have we actually had sort of a real-time notion. Yeah, we've had some Ajax calls, but nothing sort of push level. And now we roll out a new version of Zendesk, which is a single-page app, and we need the real-time infrastructure to keep these clients updated. And we use real-time for what we call presence detection, which we think is one of the important aspects of real-time. Like, who else is working on this topic here, this item, in Zendesk ticket? And for that, we've built our own sort of real-time library where we surface sort of the primitives that we believe are important in real-time web application.
So tell me a little more about Radar.
So Radar is the real-time library we use. We don't believe in more frameworks. We don't believe in telling people how to do their stuff. Rather, we give them a high-level library for some really elegant primitives to use. So Radar supports push notifications. It supports messaging for you can make a chat, and it supports presence. We think that's the level you need to implement stuff. Nobody wants to fiddle around with WebSockets or long polling or do all the stuff that HTML is doing. We want to take things up here and implement them. And we've done this with Radar, and we think it's a great piece of software, so we've decided to open source it. So it's available today on GitHub /Zendesk/Radar, but also radar.zendesk.com for the full docs. It's Node.js, and it's been under development for a year or so. And we're just happy to be able to share it sort of as a potential tool for anyone who wants to do real time, but don't want to buy into a big greasy framework or something.
I wish more companies took that attitude. Cool, well thank you very much.
Thanks very much.